Have you ever felt stuck, frustrated, or even thought about quitting language learning? You're not alone. In fact, I made 7 huge mistakes that slowed me down, wasted my time, but I learned the hard way. Today, I'll show you what not to do so you can learn faster, smarter, and without so many frustrations. Let's dive in with the first sin that almost everyone makes, and we'll finish off with the worst of them all. Sin number 1 is to rely on motivation. Motivation is great until it's gone. In the beginning, everything feels exciting, but once the honeymoon phase is over, relying on motivation is not enough. It's a recipe for inconsistency, or worse, for quitting. So what's the solution? Discipline and routine. Instead of feeling like studying, successful learners follow a plan, a daily routine. Even just 10 minutes beats motivation because discipline wins every time. And this brings us to the next sin, which keeps many students at an intermediate level forever.
Teacher, I've been studying English for 5 years now. I can read, I can write really well. But when native speakers talk, I don't understand everything. I understand 50%. It's like native speakers eat the words.
Sounds familiar? That's because native people, we do eat words and letters. We also use slang and idioms, and real conversations are quite different from textbook dialogues. Many language learners believe that just studying grammar and vocabulary will magically lead them to good listening skills. But it doesn't work that way. That's why ignoring listening practice is a sin. The fix starts listening from day 1, even if you don't understand everything. But listening practice should be a priority. So use and abuse of audio content that's available out there in your target language. Think of podcasts, sitcoms, movies, YouTube videos. Practicing with this will train your ear to recognize sounds and words faster. And this sin leads to another, relying too much on textbooks. So textbooks can be really helpful. The problem is that they teach mainly classroom language or more formal language. And most people in real life don't talk like that. So if you rely only on textbooks, you might end up learning words and phrases that are not commonly used. So to avoid this sin, you want to make sure you balance out textbooks with real live content. I can highly recommend our app MosaLingua that teaches how people speak in real life. Next is sin number 4 that holds back people from speaking the language they're learning. Avoiding speaking the language until you're good enough at it or until you're fluent. This was my biggest mistake, I admit. When I was learning Portuguese, I used to practice by myself a lot through the shadowing technique. But when it came down to social interactions, it seems like the words would not come out of my mouth. Today, I realized that I missed out on great opportunities and that waiting for the perfect moment means not speaking at all. Besides, the only way to get fluent at a language is to start speaking it when you're not ready. Sounds terrifying, I know, but that's the way it works. And you'll understand why in the next sin I mentioned. Fear of making mistakes is the biggest mistake of all. And it holds so many people back. It held me back, as I mentioned previously, because mistakes are a proof that you are learning. There's a reason why kids learn languages really fast. They mess up constantly, yet they don't care. Besides, native speakers don't expect perfection. Quite the opposite. They appreciate the efforts that you're making in speaking their language. So go on, embrace your errors, make mistakes, learn from them. That's the fastest way to fluency. And speaking of fluency, the next sin is something that many learners completely overlook, underestimating the importance of culture. Language isn't just about words, it's about culture. Knowing grammar and vocabulary isn't enough. You also need to understand how people use the language in real life, or you might still sound a little off. Let me give you an example. Did you know that in Japan, saying no directly is considered rude? people use subtle phrases like "it might be difficult" to refuse something politely. Therefore, immersing yourself in the culture of the language that you are learning is the fix for the sin. So for that, you can watch movies, read about traditions, and learn and observe how people communicate with each other wherever the language that you are learning is spoken. And finally, please do not commit the worst sin of language learning, giving up too soon. This is the deadliest sin, and sadly, many fall into this trap. Some people quit because they think they're not good enough at the language they're learning, or because they don't have the time to learn it. The excuses are endless. Nevertheless, the journey of learning a language isn't a straight line. It's full of ups and downs. Some days you feel like a genius, other days you feel stuck. But progress always happens if you keep going. So when you feel like quitting, remember why you started to learn that language in the first place. So which of these 7 sins are you guilty of? Go on, drop a comment below and let me know. And if you found this video helpful, then don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get more language learning tips from us. Bye for now.
If you learned something new from this video, give it a thumbs up. Then hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. Have a look around our channel for more hacks and tips. And if you're watching on another social media platform, like or follow our page. See you next time.